Hi, I'm Ralph D. Amicis. I'm the astrologer for Planetary Calendar along with Lonnie D. Amicis, and this is your forecast for April 2017. So, when we're doing this, I'm working from three things. I'm working from the calendar for April. I'm working from the charts. And I'm working from the forecast that we wrote. Okay? While you're using the calendar, you will periodically notice letters that will appear. Like here is the A. Okay? That A is specifying a particular day when something important is happening, and it will show up in the forecast. As you're reading, you will see an A in the forecast. This was done in order to make the forecast more interactive with the calendar itself. Now, if within that we talk about a particular aspect, a conjunction, a sextile, whatever, a trine, and you don't see it marked on that box, that's because when we're showing those, we're showing the aspect, we're showing the exact aspect, degree, minute, second. But these aspects are in place for extended periods of time. Some are shorter. If it's Mercury, it's a short aspect. But if it's Jupiter or Saturn, they can be long aspects. They can go on for weeks. And many times during a lunation, full moon, new moon, it will be highlighted. It will be brought into the light, and they become very, very active. And the theme goes live, it goes loud. So, with that in mind, so like I said, if you don't see that aspect exactly written there, don't call up the publisher and complain, please. Realize we're looking at this as an ongoing process, because that's what astrology it is. It's a series of movements that overlap each other and cycle through. Right? The great art. So, let's start off with the forecast. Okay. April. Oh my gosh. April 2017. This is a month of changes. 4 planets change direction. 5 planets enter new signs. That's a lot of movement. So it's actually very fitting that the whole thing starts off with April Fool's Day, which, is symbolized by the first card of the Major Arcana of the Tarot. The Fool stepping off the cliff. It's many times been interpreted as our entering into density, our people, coming from the spirit world, entering into incarnation. The Fool. But that's how April begins. And that actually goes back to the fact that it was the traditional New Year day of the Roman calendar. The Romans used astrology very, very, very. The ancient Romans I'm talking about. I imagine the modern Romans do too. Now, because of all these changes, you got the 4 planets changing direction, 5 planets entering new signs, the whole month is going to feel kind of unsettled. It's going to feel like, you think you're in the groove, and all of a sudden something bumps into you and you're on another track. Keep your wits about you, okay? Make sure no one's coming from the other direction when you're in that groove, because you're not the only one who's feeling unsettled. On the 2nd, Venus retrogrades into Pisces. This is not a bad thing, because Venus in Pisces is exalted. She is the honored princess at the banquet. It's a very, very nice position. It very much promotes romance. Okay, this happens on the 2nd. This is the 15th. Venus turns direct on the 15th. So you only get this for, from the 2nd to the 15th, but at least you get it, because on that point, it turns direct. Now, it's still in Pisces, so you can use this energy. See, when Venus is retrograde, Venus actually likes being retrograde. She does it really, really well, because it internalizes love. But now that it moves outwards, remember the saying, and I've used this before, that a faint heart never won a fair lady. So if you've been dreaming about someone, if you've been thinking about, if you've been gazing at them, as Venus goes direct on the 15th, tell them about it. Send some flowers, maybe a bottle of wine. Venus in Pisces really likes wine. Now on the 5th, before all that happens, Saturn's going to turn retrograde. Okay? So at this point, both Saturn and Jupiter, these are the two big financial engines, are both backstepping. Okay? You can expect at this point, and they were in a nice sextile early in the beginning of the year, things were going along smoothly, and now they've started to move out of aspect. So you can expect that currencies and real estate prices will start being suppressed in the coming months. Okay? Whatever nuts you stashed away during the winter, don't be too quick digging them out and gobbling them up. Okay? In other words, you've got resources that you've been holding on to because, during the winter time, we're a little more careful about our resources. Don't use them up too fast because as these planets are both retrograde and out of aspect, there's going to be a certain amount of uncertainty in the markets, and in the economy in general. Okay, Saturn and Jupiter are always the two big financial engines. And they've been tracking this. Astrologers have been tracking this for as far as anyone can remember. Okay. On the 9th, there's a C. As an additional smack to the economic jaw, Mercury turns retrograde on the 9th. Always tricky, in plodding Taurus. This is not the happiest sign for Mercury anyway. Mercury likes going fast. Taurus likes to take his time. It goes retrograde. So communication systems are slow, and they also could be a little touchy. You want to go around your house at this time, or maybe just before, oil all of your hinges, all of your locks, clean out the entranceways and hallways, all the places where people have to walk, because there's going to be a real tendency for the bulls in the china shop to fall over them. Okay? Mercury rules the nervous system, also communications and local movement. So when our personal environment is squeaky and obstructed, it negatively affects our ability to think. So really take time to clear that stuff out. Okay, from the 19th through the 21st, expect bumps in the road. Why? The Sun is entering Taurus. Mercury is turning retrogrades into Aries. Hasn't turned retrograde, but backs up into Aries. Mars enters Gemini, while Pluto turns retrograde. Okay, this is all between the 19th and the 21st. It's going to be tumultuous. There's just going to be a lot of So just be aware of that, coast a little bit. If you see trouble arising, go around the other way. You see a traffic jam, maybe you want to go the other way or go have a cup of coffee and wait till it passes. You don't have to walk into trouble. Okay? Now, on the 26th, you'll see an F. By the bossy new moon on the 26th, all of that will settle down. Okay? And on the 28th, that's the G, Venus wistfully leaves romantic Pisces for feisty, independent Aries. And she's going to stay there until June in the company of the warrior princess Pallas Athena. So girls will rule. So when you look at this month, there's a bunch of significant days. And like I said, even on that full moon on the 10th, you have, the sun opposite the moon. The sun is in Aries, conjunct Uranus, very, very close. It's going to be rambunctious. It's opposing Jupiter, who's conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter conjunct the moon in Libra, so it's going to kind of go out of control. You might find yourself getting into arguments over, opinions. I see it from this side, you see it from that side, let's fight about it. Why? You're supposed to see it from two different sides. We hold up a coin. One person sees one side, one person sees the other side. That's just the nature of life. Doesn't mean you have to argue about it. You just got to find some way to exchange that money. So it's just a very, very rambunctious one. And it's triggered also because Pluto is in the mix there as well. And everyone's got their rules at that same time. And on the 26th with the new moon, the moon and sun are at 6 degrees Taurus. This is a part of the sky where the stars behind there are the stars in the horns of Aries. the ram. Remember that where the sidereal zodiac is, which is the stars, is not lined up exactly with the tropical zodiac, which is measured from the first day of spring. And this shift that goes on is what creates the great ages. And every year, every 60 years, it moves over another degree. And so it takes like 2,400 years to go through a sign. It takes like 26,000 years to go through the entire zodiac. These are what's called the great years in astrology. Yes, we really do think about that kind of stuff. And so the stars behind this particular lunation at the new moon are the horns of Taurus, which is why we say that early part of Taurus is very bossy. Charmingly so, but bossy. Very determined. And very, very, because it's Taurus, dependable. It will stick to it. The oxen just keeps going. And it may smile at you as it goes by, but if you don't move your toes, it will step on your toes. Okay? So, like I said, this whole month, keep your wits about you. It's a very, very lively one. Follow the calendar. When you see those letters come up, read them. Read the section, because it will be stuff you will want to know, so you can zig and zag as necessary. So once again, this is the forecast for April 2017 for the planetary calendar. Come back and see us for next month, May 2017, here at Space and